A lot of beginner golfers think that good golf entails towering drives, laser-like precision with irons, and tour-level flop shots. But I've noticed that good golf is boring golf. Starting with virtually always keeping it in play off the tee. You don't need to hit it 300. You just need to leave yourself in position to hit a green in regulation more often than not. And even approach shots don't need to be daggers at the pin. They just need to be on or near the putting surface. From there, good golf entails scrambling on occasion and two-putting when you should. And mostly, good golf entails a whole lot of quote-unquote boring pars, like this one. And that's the theme of the day. I don't have tour-level shots in my bag, but I play a lot of boring golf. I'm just trying to avoid the truly bad shots. Shots with poor contact, or shots from inside 150 yards that miss target by more than about 30 yards. We'll tabulate those today, and we'll also count how many unobstructed drives I hit, how many times I hit greens in regulation, and how many times I scrambled for par. Birdies like these, they're just a bonus.
Thanks.
Most amateur golfers should be teeing it up from no more than about 6,500 yards, where the average par 4 measures only around 365 yards. And again, if you can put it in play from these yardages with even pedestrian distance,
Oh, I pushed it.
you'll often have a short iron or even a wedge in. That should leave you a fair amount of birdie putts. And once you've done that, the short game is what separates birdies from pars and pars from bogeys. So that's the part of the game I've leaned into. Solid lag putting like this enables a ton of boring pars. Another drive-in play on a short par 4 leaves me another wedge in. And while good golf doesn't require flag hunting, it's a huge help when your misses still travel the right number. There's no reason for me to try to muscle a sand wedge this number when I'm comfortable with hitting a 3/4 pitching wedge. So a slight pull here still leaves me with a makeable birdie putt.
Oh,
And one more boring par.
thought I had that one.
Good boring golf also entails setting realistic expectations. Par 3s are typically low handicappers' worst scoring holes. In this round, my average approach number was 135 yards, but on par 3s, it was 175. So even on a total whiff like this,
Oops. Chunked it. Okay.
I won't let myself get too rattled. Instead, I'll go right back to work with the short game. It's a boring bump and run with a gap wedge here, cultivated from countless hours practicing these shots that don't require incredible athleticism or strength. This one gets close, and we get up and down for one more par.
Thanks.
But what about par 5s? They're the undoing of many high handicappers, and a goldmine for the lower handicaps. As always, it starts with just getting the ball in play.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm well so far.
But it's the second shot on par 5s that gives many golfers nightmares. Even though I'm hitting 3-wood here, I frequently choose a shorter club on days that my woods are erratic or if there's trouble ahead in the landing zone. On occasions that I do hit 3-wood, I know I'll often have just a pitch and putt hole left, where I can often get them close. But still, not every time.
Oh, I pulled it though.
But it's another pin-high miss, and yet another look at birdie, albeit a long one. There's not much in this putt, and it's online, but a bit short.
Not quite.
And we'll take par. The driver has been dialed so far, and we finally find a miss with it here on 7.
4 right!
And recently, I've been experiencing this driver miss too.
Oh, no.
When nasty misses creep into my game, I don't consult my fellow handicap playing partners, or even generalized instruction on YouTube.
Okay.
I've found it immensely more helpful to get personalized feedback from golf professionals on swing tweaks. I submit a couple of videos describing the miss I'm trying to fix, and the instruction I receive in return is tailored to my swing.
So we're going to work on reducing that pop-up issue you're seeing and also get you hitting it straighter and reducing the push. So we're going to end up seeing a lateral shift of your upper body in this direction towards the target. What's happening is you're pretty much bottoming out at the golf ball. So with driver, the bottom of your swing has changed. You're now going to be hitting it with a more descending blow, and it's going to expose the top edge of your golf club. So I included a tip video there for you. It's going to go over driver setup, and there's a few keys in there that will help you. The one I want you to focus on is I want you to take your driver and then actually set it on your center of gravity. So put that driver just a little bit farther back, so it's about 4 inches back from the golf ball. It's going to help to keep you more still. You're not going to move as much. The club's going to bottom out in the correct spot, and you're going to hit much more up on the golf ball. Turning around your spine, getting the club to bottom out in the correct spot is going to reduce your push miss. So focus on those keys there. You should definitely be hitting it straighter.
That's just a snippet of a swing tweak, and I can't encourage you enough to download the Swing Tweaks app and try it yourself. See the link in the video description to get started with Swing Tweaks today.
Just need to hit it well and get it up and over everything here.
Boring golf also means forgoing hero shots in favor of getting misses back in play, which I barely accomplish here.
Don't know if that came down. Okay, at least we have a clear line here. 182 and 2.
But at least I now have a shot of reaching this green. And this isn't a shot I typically get close from this yardage, but as if to emphasize that scoring really comes down to putting, I fail to capitalize on the 4-footer here, so I'll have to settle for par. I mentioned already that par 3s are my worst scoring holes, and this approach is off. And I don't have a tour level flop shot in my arsenal, so I'll just stick to the shot I know. It leaves me a bit of work for par, and it all adds up to my first bogey of the day. We still haven't talked about what happens when things go off the rails. For me, it often starts with indecision.
This just feels like too much club, maybe? Yeah.
I'm not committed to this swing,
Whoops.
and I end up hitting one of the dreaded pop-up shots I've been trying to iron out of my game. The next shot is pretty nervy too, and candidly, it might not have been a shining example of course management. The next shot is another stinker too, so I decide I've had enough of that, and just grab a putter for this one to make sure my contact is decent. It should be a frustrating double, but alas, this turns into a true blow-up hole. But all in all, a solid driver on the front, mostly tidy approach play, and just under one bad shot per hole. Good, boring golf. Let's see if we can keep it going on the back. Another good drive to start here, but it's not uncommon for the same mistake to rear its head throughout a round. We fatted a wedge on the last hole, and we do it again here. And the natural overcompensation is to thin the next one. But that's fine. We still have a look at par, albeit with a bit more indecision.
I'm really not sure what this thing's doing.
It's a tentative stroke on this downhiller,
Oh, it did.
but boring golf means turning mistakes into just bogeys more often than not, and I'm fine with that outcome here. Because bad stretches are inevitable, and it's so important to just reset before every shot. Another solid drive on this tight par 5, followed by, you guessed it, another chunk.
Chunk good.
But par 5s often afford you one bad shot. You'll just have a longer number in than you would have otherwise. It's a smooth wedge here that actually winds up past the hole.
Get down.
So we'll lean on the flat stick to bail us out with a good lag putt once more.
Thanks.
It's well executed here, and we're back on track with a par.
Thanks.
On to a long par 3, where I know my green make percentage will be low. So this isn't altogether a bad miss.
I told myself I wanted no part of going after the flag, wanted middle of the green, and then pushed it.
But this sure is. But that's not on my mind while hitting the next one. And in fact, I do a great job of limiting the damage to just a bogey.
Yeah.
Another short par 4, and another good, boring drive up the right side. It's just a wedge in, and this one's a little bit off.
A little short.
But I mentioned earlier that boring golf means scrambling the odd time, and I'll have about 8 feet for this one. And it's good, for our second up and down of the day.
Thanks. Thanks.
This hole is a bit deceiving. Under 400 on the card, but I haven't played this course,
Okay, is this a par 4? So like right edge of the trap and don't miss left of that?
and opt for a very conservative line.
That's quite a bit right of that.
And now I'll have a long way home. Again, I don't expect to hit every green from this distance, so we'll consider this one a bonus. And now, on to another lag putt that's on track, but not quite.
Oh,
And I'm thrilled with the par here. It's the last par 3 of the day, and predictably,
oh, draw.
another approach shot that's a bit off the mark. We follow it up with a decent bunker shot for a look at par,
Thanks. Stay up.
but we don't quite get it to go, and we settle for bogey. One more par 5, what should be a scoring hole for me, but every now and again, we do indeed flare a drive.
That was me trying to hit it as hard as I could.
So we'll stick to our ethos of not trying hero shots after bad shots. It's imperative to just get this one back in play with a smooth iron over the trees.
So 165 pin is here.
And while this is certainly more yardage than we wanted in on this hole, this is one of my better iron strikes of the day, followed by probably my worst putt of the day.
Slow down. Thought that was quite a bit uphill.
But this one helps erase all of that damage, and it's a hard-fought par.
Thanks.
This course wasn't long, but it was actually very tight off the tee. And thankfully, despite another push miss here,
Cover that tree.
it does wind up okay.
Yeah.
And leaves just a mid-iron. We hit it well on the last hole, and we're fine with this one too. It's about 15 feet for birdie, and it's on line,
Turn. Boy.
but we'll take a par heading into 18.
I'm guessing that water juts out more on that left than it looks like it does. You gotta like hit a fade, I guess, just to even keep it out of the water. Oh no! No!
A frustrating drive to end the day here, so we'll go back to boring golf. A smooth 8-iron into this green should ensure that we escape with no worse than a bogey. Although the first putt gives us a bit of work to do on the comebacker, but fortunately we get it to go.
Thanks.
And boring golf looks
Thanks.
like this. 8 greens in regulation, a couple of up and downs, and notably, almost one bad shot per hole. But by keeping it boring, we limited the damage to a respectable 7 over 79.